First, you want to go to page 103 in your student journal and read the fundamental theorem of algebra. I also want you to see the corollary and read about that as well. We're going to use this theorem and corollary to solve example 1 and 2 in your notes packet. So when you're done reading those, go to the notes packet in 4.6, example 1. For part A, we want to find how many solutions this equation has. We can see the degree is 3, and based on that theorem, that's going to tell us there are 3 solutions. To this equation. For part B, we want to find out how many zeros the function f of x has. Since we see that the highest exponent is 4, the degree is 4, so there are 4 zeros. So for part C, we want to look at the graph and figure out how many real zeros this function has, and then how many imaginary. Looking at the function, I can see there's clearly at least 2 real zeros, but because this touches the x-axis and turns, it's going to be a repeated 0. So there's going to be 3 real solutions. Since there's 2 turns in this graph, and based on its end behavior, going down and up, we can say the degree is 3. So there are only 3 solutions, therefore no imaginary solutions. Next, go to example 2. And we want to find all the zeros of this function. We know from the previous section that all the possible roots, or the zeros, of this function are plus or minus 1, 2, 4, or 8. So I'm just going to use synthetic division and try 1, a root of 1. Since 1 is not a factor, let's try negative 1 with synthetic division. And now we can see that negative 1 is a factor, so x plus 1 is a factor of f of x. And left over, we have, coming from this right here, x to the 4th minus x to the 3rd plus 2x squared minus 4x minus 8. From here, we need to try to factor the x to the 4th polynomial. Now we have to do synthetic division again we'll use -1 on the x to the 4th polynomial. So we have 1, and we can see we now have x plus 1 as a factor twice, and left we have x to the 3rd plus 2x squared, minus, that's a negative, plus 4x minus 8. So now what we want to do is factor x to the 3rd minus 2x squared plus 4x minus 8 by grouping. So when I do that, I still have my x plus 1 times x plus 1, and then I get x minus 2 times x squared plus 4. And we want to set this all equal to 0 to find the zeros. From here, I can see that x plus 1 and x plus 1 gives me -1, so I'm going to write my answers above. -1 and -1. And then x minus 2 will give me 2 as a solution. And then x squared plus 4, that, if you subtract 4 from both sides and solve, I'll write it down here, for x squared equals -4, you'll get plus or minus 2i. So 2i and -2i. This is where imaginary numbers come into play. And finally, this is your final answer for example 2.